Good evening, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to SKR Season 6, Round 6. It's an easy one this time. And we're in Japan. We're at the well-known Suzuka circuit. And it seems like we're going to get going with 17 runners in the field. Just the one qualifying session, so everybody gets 18 minutes to get around there. Have as many runs as possible. And obviously get the lowest lap time that is possible. Race is all about strategy and going the distance, tire management, fuel management, all that other stuff. Qualifying, it's all about going quickest. Evening to Death Queen. Sorry about Wednesday night. We had a problem with the stream. Hoping for a better result this time. On Wednesday night, you only got the excitement of qualifying, and then the stream cut off. Already a lot of action out on track busy. Suzuka circuit, one of the longer tracks on the calendar. Takes a while to get around here. If you do mess up your run, takes quite a lot of time out of your qualifying session. As well, with it being such a lengthy track, it's also quite a fast track. So you use all of that ERS in just the one lap. So you don't really get a second go at it. Seems like just about everybody getting out there very early on. Only Venom. The Pantry Star also leaving, so only Venom remaining in the pits. Every other car is on an outlap. Just been informed that obviously tonight is the Japanese Grand Prix, and then on Monday and Wednesday in SAFRL Tier 1, Tier 2, it will also be the Japanese Grand Prix, so I'm going to be quite sick of Suzuka at the end of it. At least by Wednesday, we'll know what to expect. Anyone in the comment section willing to give us a very early pole prediction, or at least what sort of lap times we can expect? We ride with the Alfa Romeo. Name in the middle there, Kick. That'll be their name this year. We're riding with Virus as he goes through Spoon. A left-hander that never seems to end. I think Virus will be one of the first men over the line, so we'll see the first benchmark lap time. Skull, the first man over the line, a 1:28.799. Virus goes quicker, 1:28.4. And there we have your first two drivers going over the line. Damo becomes the third driver over the line, 1:30.3. Lap times coming down. Harsh Cartoon, 1:28.1. Alfa Romeos cover the front row. The Skies goes over the line for a P5. Lap times coming in thick and fast, but as things stand, Alfa Romeo will be happy with that. Next best is the Alpha Tauri of Skull. I was just about to say, just the three drivers in the 128s. Ulrich becomes the fourth driver in the 128s. We ride with Divan. No lap time from him. But he's now in the closing stages of his fast lap. Let's see what he can come up with. Time to beat a 128.1, and he does beat it. It's a 27.9. And that's how you do it, live on the stream. Nicely done. Divan takes provisional pole, first driver into the 27s, 27.9, and throws the benchmark down even lower. Venom, he remains in the pits, and for some reason he does have a set of mediums aligned to his car. I'm not sure that's accurate. There we go, there are your first runs basically, Divan. 27.9. Get him awfully close, we didn't see it. Pantry Star 128.1. He actually got ahead of Harsh Cartoon, and then Louis was able to split the Alfa Romeos. So some really close times in the 128s. The Haas driver remains the only driver in the 127s, even if it is barely a 127. 127.954. This is Venom, finally on an out lap. Thought it may have been a mistake, but it appears it is not a mistake. Venom is out on a set of mediums. He's gone over the gravel. Not sure if he was taking a shortcut or if that was just a mistake. There's your provisional pole sitter on his way into the pits. Pantry Star, all these drivers will be on in laps. That's what happens, unfortunately. All the action happens at the same time. You can't catch it all. And then they all sit in the pits for 5 minutes. And I have to sit here and make up things to say. The AlphaTauris, line astern, 7th and 8th, Skull and Andre. That lap from the Haas, 127.9. If you want pole position tonight, you need to get into the 127s. That is the statement being made. Some drivers already getting out for their second run. One of those drivers is Mr. M. He's out in the McLaren. Trying to see if he's using ERS or not, so we know if this is a fast lap. There we go, he's just coming into the pits. I thought it was a quick lap, but everyone's on in laps. Bunch of cars on out laps, no one on a fast lap. Obviously the Suzuka circuit, the only circuit on the calendar to be a figure of 8 circuit, which means it crosses over itself. And if the designers of Suzuka had their way, the original layout would have had 3 overpasses. That would have made for an interesting layout. All top 5 drivers sit in the pits. Probably watching the timing screens, maybe adjusting a few things that they can adjust. Things like the front wing. A few things are still able to be touched under Parc Fermé. Maybe a few adjustments, having a look at the sectors, seeing where they're quick, where they're the slowest. And then that'll obviously give you a better indication of where you have to work the hardest. Divan, still in the pits. Will ride with Virus. He's currently in P6. Skull becomes disqualified from the session. Well, there we go. DSQ confirmed. It means he will start from the very, very back of the field, regardless of if there are any DNFs or not. Any drivers not setting lap times, DSQ will take you to the very last grid slot. And back in the 90s, you wouldn't be able to race. Now the drivers can get away with not setting a lap time and starting the race. But in the 90s, if you didn't set a lap time in qualifying, well, you didn't race on Sunday. It was extremely crucial to get that first run under your belt. Because if you retired from the session without a lap, you could potentially miss the race. Really depended how stewards were feeling and how full the grid was. Provisional pole sitter on an out lap, 27.9, his fastest lap. Virus has got into the 127s, and look at that. As close as you're going to get it. It's just not enough. It's going to have enough time to get out there for a third run. But he'll be asking, what more do I need to do? Actually, now that I look at that, that's a lot closer than I thought it was. That is 1.5, well, call it 15 thousandths of a second. That's how close the front row should be. You want to see these guys competing. You want to see the pace being competitive. And when you see a close qualifying session translate into a close race, then there's nothing better than that. One thing to remember for all the drivers out on track is, remember, you're in Suzuka and turn 1 can be interesting. Divan spins it around on the exit of the hairpin. And I believe that was on an out lap. Or was it on a quick lap? Well, regardless, he's lost it on the exit of that corner. That was a fresh set of softs. You will charge up and have another go. We ride with the top running Ferrari. That is the Ferrari of Louis as he enters into the hairpin. Just squirmish there on the exit of the hairpin. We've seen a few guys making a mistake there. Want to get on the power. The car's just not ready. Traction isn't there. Got to be a little bit more patient than you want to be. Pantry Star goes fastest, 127.9. And why does it feel like deja vu? I keep on saying 127.9. And that's because the top three are covered by 200ths of a second. Pantry Star 127.94. Divan 127.95. Virus 127.96. Well, you're not going to get any closer than that in the top three. Harsh Cartoon, the second of the two Alfa Romeos, his teammate just made it up into the 27s. Harsh Cartoon, low 28s, 28.1. It's not going to be good enough for pole. Focus will now go to their third and final run for most of these drivers. Who would have expected such close lap times at the front? If you could do a 127.9, you probably thought, okay, I've got pole position in the bag. And then another two drivers go and virtually match that lap time. Mr. Rem on an out lap, Ulrich on an out lap, Venom on an out lap. Hopefully for them, they get around in time. What happens is sometimes go out a little earlier than the rest of the field, just 2 or 3 cars, then the rest of the field leave it late, and as you're about to start your fast lap, all of these cars are streaming out of the pit lane. Sometimes that final run Got to watch how many cars on track, where they are, and ensure you find yourself in a gap where you can maximize that final lap. Suzuka, a very difficult racetrack to set a competitive lap if there's any sort of cars in front of you. In some parts of the racetrack, it's as wide as any modern racetrack. In other parts of the racetrack, it's as narrow as Monaco. Might not believe that, but it's true. Gotzi on an outlap, Venom on an outlap, Ulrich, Louis, Mr. M, Harsh Cartoon, Virus, Divan, all on outlaps. Provisional pole sits at Pantry Star, remaining in the pits. No movement from him. 27.94 is the time to beat. 100th away is Divan in P2, and 100th down from Divan is Virus. Extremely close times at the front. Improving could come down to the smallest of details, and every single driver out there that did their fast lap, they will know where they could have braked a little better, where they accelerated a bit too early and got a squirm. They'll know every detail, and they'll be focusing on those little details and getting them right. That could be the 10th of a second that makes a difference between first and second, or a front row or a second row. Divan off the circuit, there goes the Haas. Caution, yellow flags. And unfortunately for Divan, he's not going to be able to make any sort of improvement. Just over 30 seconds remaining. We ride with Virus. He is definitely on it. ERS is falling. 127.96 currently P3. His teammate not far behind. Well, we said it was close, and then the McLaren showed up. 127.5. Mr. M leaving it right to the end. Ulrich, look at that, 127.6. Where are these lap times coming from? Everyone was holding it till the end. The sandbags come off. Will there be any more surprises? Divan, he'll be annoyed with himself, made a mistake at the end. Here is Virus. Virus goes P1, 127.4. Where is his teammate? Harsh Cartoon. Also still on it, Virus, 127.4. We thought the 127.5 was quick, and then Ulrich almost matched it, and then Virus beat it, 127.4. And Harsh Cartoon does improve, but it's a 127.7. On any other night, that would have been a great lap time. But tonight, it's only good enough for P4. Virus on pole, 27.4. Mr. M P2, 27.5. And Ulrich P3, 27.6. 4/10 cover the front two rows. Fantastic racing. This is Venom in the Haas, currently P10, 128.8, looking to get up the field. He does improve, 128.5, but that's going to take him from 10th place to 9th place. And I think for everybody else, the checkered flag has fallen. So unless there are any penalties we don't know about, I think that'll pretty much be your order. So there we go, qualifying has been completed for round 6, season 6. There's your official results. What a lap time it was at the end. Virus 127.4 takes pole position. Lining up next to him, Mr. M and P2, 127.5, just a tenth of a second covering those drivers. Then Ulrich P3, Pantry Star P4, Andre P5, Harsh Cartoon P6, Divan P7, Louis P8, Venom P9, and Gotzi makes up the top 10. Not quite in the top 10, Dixie Killer P11, Wasp P12, Damo 13th, Disguise 14, Atmagozi 15, Revolution P16, and making up the field, disqualified, no lap time, Skull. And there we have our empty pit lane. Well folks, as per normal at SKR, we have the 5-minute break in between the end of qualifying and the start of the race. It just allows for everybody to get everything in order, make sure they're on the right strategy, make sure they have the right fuel, they're starting on the tire they want to be on. So many times, start the race, somebody presses X very early, and you just run out of time. Something also to remember is the potential for safety cars around Suzuka. Underfueling may be beneficial, but as we've seen in the past, if the safety car does not come out, fuel can become a major issue, especially if you're trying to defend positions. Time is 6:33. The race will begin at 6:36, and I'm just going to take a minute. I'll be back with you. There we go, I'm back. I would have been back sooner, but somehow in that very short space of time I managed to lose my headphones. But I have found my headphones, and we are approaching the final moments before a race in Suzuka. This is also one of those circuits that has been on the F1 calendar for quite some time, and ever since I've been watching Formula 1 since the early 90s. This is pretty much the same track I remember since the beginning. Slight alteration in the final chicane, but other than that, this is pretty much the same layout that the greats like Prost, Piquet, Mansell and Senna all drove around before. Something special about these layouts that remain the same for years and years. Obviously, like I said in qualifying, one of the longer circuits on the calendar, 5.8 kilometers, 18 corners, 10 to the left, 8 to the right. and a lot of elevation change, so a track with a little bit of everything. And what the guys really need to just be careful of is, especially here in lap 1, especially turn 1 of lap 1, but Suzuka, it's wide in places and it's surprisingly narrow in others. 5 red lights and we will be underway. Hopefully my controller doesn't go dead, otherwise I'm going to have to do the commentary on the wheel. That will be very impressive. Aston Martin going for the lead. Not quite. Mr. M stays in front. Ulrich now P2. Pantry Star in P3. Divan P4. Virus P5. Everyone getting through turn 1 really nice and cleanly, which is quite the feat here in Suzuka. So well done to all the drivers out there. 17 drivers. Mr. Rem leads the way. He's coming under pressure from the Aston Martin. Doesn't look like he's waiting for any DRS zones. He wants to get him now before DRS. Some position changes. Virus lost out heavily at the start of the race. He lost 4 positions at the start. Mr. M. Ulrich and Pantry Star made up a position as a result, and Divan picked up 2. Another one losing a lot of positions at the start was Wasp, 5 positions, Dixie Killer 6 positions, and Louis also 4 positions. So some bad starts out there. Now Ulrich sweeps up the inside. He's not wasting any time, needs to get in front. Probably want to look at the tyre screen. And there we go, that might explain it. Looked like he was so much quicker, looked like he had so much more grip. Didn't make sense, but now it does. Brought up the tyre screen, and that makes perfect sense. Ulrich's on the softs. His main competitor's on the hards. And this virtual safety car will just annoy him, because this is the period in the race where you really want to run away with those softs, open up a gap, get the best advantage out of them. Hopefully virtual safety car will not be a long one. We had a virtual safety car on Friday night that almost lasted a lap and a half. We go, just flashed. I thought, oh, are we underway? No, we're not. It still says virtual safety car. Obviously this neutralizes the race, but it doesn't really help you as much as a safety car would help you if you were at the back of the field. This just makes you drive at a controlled speed within a delta. Does not necessarily bunch up the field. But within that delta, your time does not stay exactly the same. If you're a little asleep, you can lose a lot of time in that virtual safety car. We're back underway, and there's a car off in the background. I think it's an Alfa Romeo. It is an Alfa Romeo. It's Virus. He's falling down the order, and he's falling down the order quickly. Seems to be on his way. Absolutely no front wing. Not even going to speak of end plates. There is no front wing to hold the end plates. Virus will be recovering back to the pits. Luckily for him, he's not far from the entry to the pit lane, and he will come in immediately and fix the damage to that car, but it will put him right to the back of the field. And that's what can happen sometimes at these restarts. Virtual safety car, even a little bit more difficult than a safety car. A safety car, you know the restart is coming up and you know when it's coming. But with a virtual safety car, you can get caught unawares. Maybe just jump on the throttle a little early. And I'm not sure what happened there, if there was contact. But all we saw was him flying off into the Armco. But luckily for him, that was not a fatal blow. And he can continue in this race. Still a lot can happen. This is Suzuka. You get one safety car and this entire timing sheet can be flipped on its head. Top three are Ulrich, Divan, and Andre. And if you look at their tyres, they're riding in that order. Leader is on softs, P2 is on mediums, P3 is on hards. As things stand, I think Andre is doing a great job for being on the hard compound. He's managing to hold on to Divan at least. And as long as Divan can stay within that DRS, even if Ulrich is getting an extra 2 or 3 tenths a lap from those soft tyres, he will be able to neutralize that using DRS. The longer he can stay in DRS, the longer he gets towed around, and he gets a few extra tenths a lap. The moment he falls out of DRS, holding on to that gap becomes a lot more difficult. Further back, Pantry Star, P4, Gotzi, P5. That's the second of the two Aston Martins. Aston Martin having a fantastic evening. We've had a retirement. It's the other Aston Martin. What a not Alfa Romeo, sorry. It's the other Alfa Romeo. And what a night Alfa Romeo are having. They looked strong in qualifying. They looked strong at the start of the race. Virus had an off. Had to go into the pits. Change the front wing. Change his entire strategy and how he's going to approach this race, because now he's on a new set of hards at the back of the field. And then his teammate, just a few laps later, taking it a step further and DNFing. So what seemed like a promising evening for Alfa Romeo has now fallen on the shoulders of Virus. But who knows what can happen from here. We'll have a safety car. Cars will come into the pits who didn't really mean to come into the pits. Would have liked to have gone a little bit longer. Ulrich going on to the hard compound. I wonder if these drivers going on to the hard compound are going to be able to finish the race. I can tell you by the time Monday and Wednesday night come around, I'm going to be a pro on these pit stops. Ulrich rejoins the race in P12. Front runners have caught the safety car. Safety car will now compress the field. Once the field is all together, safety car will come in and we will be back underway. But now this race has taken on a different complexion. The beginning of the safety car, we had Ulrich in the lead on the softest compound of tyre, just starting to open a gap. Safety car came out, he dived in and got the hardest compound. He's now in P12, sorry. And Divan and Andre, P1 and 2. It's going to be interesting. Did Ulrich do the right thing? He was the only one to jump at that. You can see it on your screens there. All the tyres, 4 laps old, 4 laps old, 4 laps old. And that basically means that all of those drivers did not pit. Those are the same tyres they started on. So the only drivers that pit under safety car would have 0 laps next to their name, and that is Ulrich. So only one driver pit under safety car. If more drivers had pit, he wouldn't have been in P12, he would have regained some of those positions. But since nobody pit, he's gone from the front of the field almost to the rear of it. Lap 6 of 27. Hope some of these cars did underfuel. If you go with the full fuel and then you get a few safety cars, it can be pretty heavy in the end. A little bit of extra weight can mean a lot to your lap time. At the restart, Divan will be responsible for the restart. Andre will be in P2, Pantry Star and Gotzi 3 and 4. Andre the only one of those cars on hards, everyone around him on a set of mediums. And then Damo, he started the race on a set of softs, and interestingly he did not utilize that safety car to pit. So when the safety car does come to an end, I don't know how many more laps he can do on the softs. Then he's going to have to pit anyway. A lot of these strategies are done without virtual safety cars and safety cars in mind. They're done with the ideal race in mind. But as we know, it does not often go that way. Ideally, if you're at the front and everyone around you is on medium and hard tires and you start on softs, get to the lead, what you want to do is build a lead so that you can pit first and be in a decent position by the time everyone else pits. But if a safety car comes out when you're on the soft and destroys your plan, well, that's how quickly your strategy can go wrong, and it was completely out of your hands. Safety car in this lap, that's why it's pulled off into the distance. That means Divan will become the temporary safety car. He decides when to go. Everyone else has to follow his signal, and no overtaking before the start-finish line. But no problems there. It looks like a pretty clean restart. No madness, no passing, no side-by-side. And Divan leads into turn 1. Andre P2. Virus has retired from the session. Harsh Cartoon has retired from the session. That means we have a double Alfa Romeo retirement. Started with 17, we're down to 15. We've lost the Alfa Romeos. Speaking of Ferrari powered cars, the Haas leads the way. Not by any sort of a comfortable margin, just half a second from Andre. Pantry Star also close behind, no DRS just yet. Obviously that will change in 2024. DRS will now become available after 2 laps, and after a safety car it will become available after just the 1 lap. Divan leads, Andre P2, Pantry Star P3. Pantry Star now starting to lose his grip on the 2 cars ahead of him. Gotzi just behind in P4, coming under pressure from Venom. Dixie Killer picking up a 3-second time penalty. That's always going to hurt you at the end of the race. You want to have none of those, and if you do, you want to have as little of them as possible. Really starts to hurt when they rack up, and they rack up quickly. Louis makes up a position on the Red Bull of Damo. Louis up into P6. Good racing in the midfield, trying to keep an eye throughout. And Andre leads the way. We have a Haas going sideways. We have a terrible camera angle. We can't see what happened. But Divan just puts the car sideways. We're still looking for the Haas. There he comes. He comes around the corner. He's lost a lot of momentum. Don't think the Williams of Atmagosi is going to attack him, but well, I was wondering why the Williams of Atmagosi wasn't attacking. That's because we're under safety car. We've lost the 2 Alfa Romeos, and now we've lost the only Mercedes. Not a good night for those 2 manufacturers. There will be no points for Mercedes. There will be no points for Alfa Romeo. Otherwise, if things were to end now... Wait, someone's missing. That was almost a cool stat, but Divan and P8 ruined it. That almost looked like 10 manufacturers in the top 10. We have a few positions being made up. Obviously, cars that did not utilize the previous safety car to make a pit stop are going to utilize this one. So I think we're going to have big changes in the field. And this will also be music to the ears of the man in P5. Remember, he came in, he had a set of soft tyres, first safety car, came into the pits, no one else did. And that means he came out in P12 and was looking at a difficult middle stint of the race to come through the order. But we've immediately got a second safety car. A lot of cars did utilize this one for a pit stop, and that means he's made up positions all the way back up into P5, and he's effectively very much back into this race, not only the points but back into podium and even winning contention. At the start of the race you would have said it looked like a good night for one of the Ferrari teams, Alfa Romeo, but now it's looking like a fantastic night for the Haas team. If they're able to bring it home in this order, or even better. Two Haas drivers on different strategies though, both 8-lap old tyres, so that means it's the tyres they started on, but one is on mediums, one is on hards. So we should have no risk of double stacking. And the safety car just going a little bit too slowly there for Andre, getting right on the rear bumper of that safety car. Wonder who drives that Aston Martin. Do you think it's Lawrence Stroll? I mean, that could be Lance Stroll's job when he finally retires. It's got to be a fun job, driving as quickly as you can around a racetrack with 20 angry F1 cars behind you. Andre will lead the way at that restart. Venom will be P2. This is your leader. Seems like my we're under safety car, second safety car of the evening. Andre leads the way. Safety car is in this lap. Here we go. Now the responsibility goes to the AlphaTauri driver. Andre, with the restart, he decides when to go, and he's decided we're over the start-finish line. And now you can begin to overtake again. Andre leads the way, Venom P2. Then you got the top Ferrari of Louis. He's in P3. Another Ferrari powered car, Divan P4. Louis actually made his way up. He's made another position. So Louis will chase down Andre. Remember, Andre is on the hardest compound of tyre. Here we have Mr. M, he's in P6. He was awfully quick in qualifying. He's able to bring that pace to the race. Still in for a win here. Ulrich makes easy work of the one horse. Louis now losing touch with the leader, 1.9 seconds at the front. Mr. M challenging that second horse, wants to get himself up into the top 5. Slightly fresher tyres than the driver ahead of him, but not by much. So he's not going to have any sort of grip advantage. It's going to come down to passing on the circuit. We have a caution. Just looking around the track, see if I see anyone stationary. Does not seem to be the case. Everyone seems to be moving. Caution is over. We're back underway. I think it was a McLaren going slowly at the back. Revolution now at the back of the field. Andre leads the way and the gap continues to grow, 2.5 seconds. Louis P2, and it's not going to be a comfortable P2 for much longer because he's got Venom all over the back of him and Ulrich not far behind. Battle for P2. Still a very open one. As these continue to battle, means they will bring Mr. Rem as well as Pantry Star into this battle. Venom wants to get the move done. You saw there on the straight, he just had the smallest look to the inside. Knew it was too far away. It would take something crazy. And while he's trying to apply pressure on the horse, he's got a McLaren all over the back of him. There we go, it's going to be 5. It's going to be 5 cars very soon. And while those 5 cars battle, go side by side, just break each other's concentration in general, it's going to let this man here really run away with things. And as I say he was going to run away with it. The gap was well over 3 seconds. Everything was looking fantastic. He was on the hard tyre, maybe going to the end, but not anymore. Obviously not going to the end. He started on those tyres, but his strategy has been severely damaged. I'm almost certain he's going to jump into the pit immediately. What will he do? Jumps into the pits immediately, as does Louis, as does Venom, as does Ulrich, everyone, Mr. Rem. Pantry Star, the first car not to go into the pits. So Pantry Star will take the lead of this race. He didn't go into the pits because he's still got a fresh set of hards that I suspect he got in the last safety car. And what these safety cars have done is they've mixed our order up. Very much so. Start of the race. Looked like it was going to be a good one for Team Alfa Romeo. You can see on your timing sheets what happened to them. Then it looked like it was going to be a great race for Haas. They're down in P10 and 13. So this is a race that just keeps on changing. Now we have Damo. He's been pretty anonymous throughout the race. We haven't spent much time focusing on the Red Bull. But there he is. He's in P2. That's what a safety car can do. It can be good, it can be bad. You can have the race in the palm of your hand and everything is going your way, and there we go. I don't know what happened there. That seemed like it was an internet glitch, thank you. The Red Bull is still on track. I don't know if you saw that on your screens, but it looked like a Red Bull flew into the wall. That's what a safety car can do. Safety car can take a race away from you when it's clearly in your hands. And it can bring a race back to you when it seems there is no hope. So they can be good, they can be bad. They can be frustrating. But if you're one of the drivers at the back, they are very welcome. Seems like the whole field is together. We have a Ferrari trailing at the back, but he's going to catch the field in the next half a sector. And then I wouldn't be surprised towards the end of this lap we will get confirmation of the safety car coming in, hopefully for the final time this evening. Waiting for that confirmation. I'm sure we will get confirmation that trailing Ferrari has now caught the field. The entire field is together. Lap 15 of 27. And this has now put Pantry Star at the lead of the race on 6 lap old hards. And if he's looking to take those to the end of the race, well, then it's all about track position and staying in the lead for as long as he can. Don't know if he's going to have the pace to necessarily run away. Damo does have the medium tyre. Andre has a brand new set of mediums, as does Venom, Ulrich and Mr. M. And there we go, safety car is pulling away. Pantry Star will back up the field best that he can. Those two cars at the back just staying clear of the field, not wanting anything to do with this. And off we go. Really good start for the Red Bull driver. Sometimes what happens is you catch P2 napping, but not this time around. What a start. Does he get on the brakes? Does he get it stopped? Yes, he does. He stays in front. And Damo, at least for now, takes the lead of the race. He's on a set of mediums. He should have superior grip. There will be no DRS for now. If he's able to open any sort of gap, he needs to do it now. Obviously, those mediums will drop off quicker than all those drivers behind him. Pantry Star, Gotsy, Skull, and Wasp all on identical strategies. 7-lap old hards, and I don't know what to say. I thought my game was glitching, and my game's not glitching. We're under safety car, folks. We're under another safety car. I'm pretty sure this safety car won't be beneficial to anybody because we hardly got going. What this will do, if you're trying to get a positive out of every scenario, if you're on a softer compound and you're going to do 2 or 3 laps behind the safety car, it means those tyres can go a little further. And if you chose not to underfuel, oh wow. If you chose not to underfuel, your car should be so heavy right now compared to everyone else around you. Divan has left the session. Skull picks up a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. So now all of a sudden we're getting quite a few retirements coming through, getting a few penalties coming through. Nothing easy about this Suzuka layout. It's a testing circuit. Need to be committed into so many of these corners, and sometimes the smallest mistake can be the end of your race. And another thing, a lot of these drivers, they do their practice alone, and when you measure up practice time versus race time, how much time have you spent with other cars? It's usually only a fraction of that practice time. On a track like this, safety cars are bound to happen. Could be worse. Could be raining. In fact, that might have spiced it up even a little more. Rain at Suzuka. Obviously also home to the Suzuka 9-hour. A 9-hour motorcycle endurance event. 9 hours of Suzuka on a 2-wheeler. Sounds great. See, a very different beast, endurance racing. Of course, some Formula One teams will be competing in that World Endurance Championship. Alpine, as well as Ferrari. I believe Aston Martin also has an entry. And I'm not sure at what stage of development it is, but I know that Red Bull is building a hypercar. So we could still see a Red Bull in the World Endurance Championship. It's lap 18 of 27, we're under safety car conditions. The entire field is together, so we could see the end of this safety car shortly. Demo leads the way. Remember, he's been pretty quiet all race, and now he finds himself in a position where he's leading the race. Safety car will be in this lap. And there we go, you can see the safety car's pulled off well into the distance. Damo takes temporary charge at the start of the race. No one can go past, he decides when to go. And everybody else has got to sit and be very awake to make sure that Red Bull doesn't get the better start. Remember, he got a brilliant start on the last restart. He gets a great restart this time round. Leads into turn 1 and the gap is almost, well, it is 0.7 of a second into turn 1. Great restart by the Red Bull. But now he needs to utilize the advantage he has from those medium tires and get his way down the road. At least he's got a few laps before DRS will be back to bother him. But if he isn't able to break that DRS before then, I think he's going to be swallowed up by what appears to be a very eager Alpine. Close stuff at the front. Red Bull holding station, holds to the inside for now. It's going to make you work for it. It's not going to be easy. They going into Spoon. Not yet. Decides better of it. Can make the pass in Spoon, but if it goes wrong, it'll go horribly wrong. And with the field being so close together, running wide can cost you 6 or 7 positions. Still leads the way. Demo had a great restart, got a bit of a launch, 0.7 of a second, but since then, the Alpine's been able to get on his gearbox. And luckily for him, still no DRS. He's going to be able to use his battery, he's going to be able to defend. But for how much longer? And there we go, just missed his braking point, not the ideal braking point, wasn't able to get around the corner as he would have liked. Lost a lot of momentum. Pantry Star into the lead, and Damo all of a sudden is now into the clutches of an Aston Martin. As I say that, the Aston Martin goes through, the AlphaTauri goes through, and Damo, just like that, from the lead to 4th place. And that's all it takes. A loss of momentum when the closest field to when the field is close together, and just like that, you can find yourself in a very different position. He was leading not so long ago, now he's leading his teammate in P5. Pantry Star on the other hand, he seems to have the pace, he seems to have the tyres. He's in a very strong position. He's the only Alpine out on track this evening, so Alpine will be grateful for the victory. Just the one representative. Ooh, and things got messy there. Gotzi going over the chicane, it seems. The AlphaTauri getting back into position. That was a bit messy, don't know what happened there. Pantry Star leads the way, Andre P2. Now Ulrich P3. Gotzi a little further back in the second. Aston Martin. He leads from the man who was leading the race not so long ago, Damo P5. His teammate has fallen victim of Mr. Rem. Mr. Rem now P6. Order changing all the time. We are in the final stages of this race. Don't think we'll see any more pit stops. Okay, everyone out there is pretty much on the tyre they want to finish on. And now, around the outside of the hairpin, thought it was insane, it didn't quite work, not yet. But Mr. M, very eager to get past the Red Bull. When you've got the pace, and you want to be setting the lap times, but you just can't clear the car in front of you. Now Gotzi leads A big gaggle of cars. Mr. Rem, Damo, all looking for that P4. Pantry Star at the front. Gap is not a comfortable one, just half a second. Andre P2 has just set the fastest lap of the race. He's going to get DRS now. And he's going to be putting all sorts of pressure on that Alpine in these closing stages. We've had a race from start to finish. If you exclude all the safety cars, at least they've kept them kept the lineup exciting, kept the gaps small. Saw some pretty big gaps last week. Pantry Star and Andre, keep your eyes on those tyres, because your leaders, they're putting in pretty similar lap times, but they're on very, very different strategies. Pantry Star, 13 lap old hards. Andre, 8 lap old mediums. Mediums will fall off sooner, but the hards are older. So I think they're going to finish in similar positions, with tyres slightly starting to fall off. Ulrich also in a similar position, 8 lap old mediums, as is Mr. M. Pretty much all the strategies looking similar because they were served under one of the safety cars. And for most of them under the first 2 safety cars. The Alpine stays in front. Andre. Saw a car going straight in the background there. Trying to see who's falling down the field. Pretty sure I saw a car going straight in the background. Andre leads the way. Pantry Star P2. Trevor McLaren, Mr. Rem now in P3. Podium positions at the moment, Andre Pantry, Mr. Rem. Lap 23 of 27. Go down to your only runner on the soft compound. It's the second McLaren Revolution, currently P11. Looking to clear the second Red Bull and get himself into the points. Skull all over the back of the 2 Aston Martins. In these closing stages, when the field is so close together, you see those positions, you see those extra points. And sometimes you can just feel you're running out of tarmac, you're running out of laps, and if you're going to get it done, you need to get it done now. And that's why we have many races that have late safety cars. Aston Martin's very close together, so they're able to work as a team, and they could really flood this Red Bull ahead of them. Remember, Damo led the race. He's doing a great job. He's fallen down to 5th. And now he's going to try not get swallowed up by the Aston Martin. But Gotti easily in front before turn 1. The Aston Martins now will sandwich that Red Bull. Ulrich will try to emulate his teammate. There's been contact. Contact between the Red Bull and the second Aston Martin. Brings the AlphaTauri right up on the back of the Aston Martin as well. A little bit of loss of momentum. Just trying to have a look at the Red Bull. At the Aston Martin, I don't see any damage. And more defense. Ooh, this time things getting really messy at the back. Not what you want to see, but nothing really the Ferrari could have done. Came around the hairpin, found a stationary Aston Martin. And we're having some collisions late on in the race. Andre leads the way, Pantry Star P2. Luckily, I think we may have had our limit of safety cars, or it's too late in the race for a safety car. Andre, Pantry Star, Mr. Rem, those are your top 3. Race at the front is not over. 0.4 of a second covers your leaders. Louis in P4, Gotti P5, Skull P6. All of those cars in the midfield are now getting pretty spread out. Andre still leads the way. Pantry Star P2, gap holding firm at 5/6 of a second. These two are still in a race. Everybody else, as you can see on your timing screens, pretty much spread out. But we've had another retirement. I think that was Dixie Killer. We're down to 11 runners. And how things changed not so long ago. Damo led the field. He now brings up the rear of the field in P11. Pantry Star still looking for a way through. Problem he will have is that those hards will no longer be at their best. They'll still have a lot of life in them, but they will not be at their best. He will have the assistance of DRS. All comes down to who's got what battery, and as you can see there, they have practically the same, and the same is none. So it's all going to come down to DRS. I don't think you're going to be able to rely on battery power to save you in this race if you're one of the top two. Ulrich has been able to make up another position. As I said that, he cleared Wasp. Wasp has cleared Ulrich, so Wasp takes back his P9. Oh my, oh my, oh no. This is not what you want to see. Round 6, Season 6. And what has happened in Suzuka at the back of the field. And luckily for us, it's almost over. As for these two in front, they'll have no idea of the mayhem that's happening behind them. Pantry Star leads, Andre P2, gap holds firm, half a second. Well within DRS. And I wonder if this is going to be a situation like IndyCars, like Moto3, where slipstream DRS is so important. You don't necessarily want to be in the lead until that last DRS zone. Start the final lap, lap 27 of 27. Pantry still leads from Andre. We ride with these two because there's a battle for the lead, and everywhere else on track cars have spread out. The AlphaTauri went for the inside. The Alpine held firm around the outside. And for now, I think Pantry Star has done just enough. It's all about keeping your head in it. Tried to make that pass into turn 1. Didn't go the way he would have wanted. You don't want to get annoyed. Want to get your focus back in. Think about your next passing opportunity. Think about what you got wrong last time round. And make sure you don't repeat the same mistakes. And that looks like that is what he's done, because he's 0.3 of a second behind. He's right behind that Alpine. Waiting for any mistake. Waiting for a DRS zone. Anything he can get. But he needs to stay right on the back of that Alpine if he has any hope. It's going to be a close one, but I think the Alpine might just have done enough. Slightest of contact there. And almost side by side. There we go. That almost brought back Senna Prost memories through the final chicane of Suzuka. Pantry Star takes the win. Andre P2. Good racing between those two. Mr. M had a quieter race than the two in front of him, but he finishes P3. Nice result. Top of the Ferraris, and the only Ferrari finishing today. Louis P4, Gotti over the line P5, but that penalty pushes him down to P6. Skull will take P5. It seems like we have more retirements at the end of the session. I'm Not sure if that is lobby related or retirement related, but I suppose we'll find out in the Discord. Skull is your driver of the day, according to F123. That's a very happy Alpine driver. There we go, your official results. Pantry Star for Alpine takes the victory, 25 points on the night. Then Andre finishes P2, picks up the fastest lap, so he's going to get the extra point. 19 points for him on the night. P2, Mr. M P3, Louis P4, Skull P5, Gotzi P6, Revolution P7, Wasp P8, Ulrich P9, Damo P10, and Venom making up your field in P11. Started with 17 drivers, finished with just the 11. So we'll go through your retirements: Dixie Killer, Divan, Apmagozi, Disguise, Virus, and Harsh Cartoon. I want to thank everybody who joined us this evening. We had better luck than we had on Wednesday night. At least you guys got race coverage this time. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We had a more intense race than usual, a more action-packed race than usual, a bit more retirements than we're used to seeing, but it was a good one at the end of the night. We'll be back next week. If you watch SAFRL as well, you can join us tomorrow night at 8 PM as well on Wednesday. And no surprise, it's going to be the Japanese Grand Prix for both of them. So if you want to get a few more hints for Japan, join us tomorrow. I'll see you then. Cheers, guys.